Hello, friends. It's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. And this show, let's just go back to that for a minute. This show is dedicated to those of you who in this tribe are you're people who love people. Maybe you don't love all people, but here's what I know. We definitely don't love technology. We don't appreciate algorithms or SEO. What we want to do in our business is make real connections for real impact with other humans, the humans we're meant to serve. Not all humans necessarily, because God knows there are all sorts of humans that drive me nuts, but there are some humans I feel like I'm meant to serve, and you may feel the same way. And this show is dedicated to you so that you can figure out how to best find and serve the people you're here to serve. So, you guys have known, if you've been watching this show for any length of time, I've been running some ads on Facebook recently. I've been putting a good ad spend behind some messages to find my people, right? That's part of what I love about advertising is you can put something out and you're going to find your people. The funny part, though, is that in the process of trying to find your people, you also find a lot of lunatics or crazy people or people who just aren't your tribe, right? Like they just don't see the world the way you see the world. And the fact that they need to tell you that is the weird part, right? Like, why do you need to say that on my post? Why not just move on with your life? But something made you feel powerful and strong, exercising your voice and opinion on my post. Well, good for you, and move on. So, all right. So that being said, one of the comments that came in on one of my ads, which was simply just a clip from one of these videos, one of these episodes, was the comment was, "I don't do marketing. I don't do marketing." It was almost like this, like a slam to me, like marketing is dirty. Like, I don't do marketing. Marketing's dirty. She didn't say marketing was dirty, but that was sort of the tone I was picking up. So as I thought into that, I was thinking like, okay, at first I was like, what? Like, who are you? Like, don't be so offended. Just why don't you be curious? And then I thought about it some more, and I'm like, okay, I could totally get that. If I had not created the context for you of what marketing is, I get that you could totally think that what I'm speaking of when I speak of marketing is manipulation or spending money to make people buy things or all the other stuff that we have been inundated with in the world of marketing. Like, I am trying to lead a conversation here in the world that changes how we view marketing so that we have a healthy relationship to what marketing is for those of us who want to have an authentic interaction with people, that we could actually have a relationship to marketing that's healthy. Rather than, and this is what happens for our tribe, right? That's why I'm starting this conversation. Like, what happens for our tribe is we go, well, all the ways that marketing are taught aren't a good fit for me. And so, ... I must not be a marketer, or I don't want to do marketing, or I won't have any part of that, or I'm not willing to sell out. And so, what we're left with, if we don't embrace how to proactively lead a conversation in the world, what we're left with are things like word of mouth, referrals, hoping and praying, and lots of vision boards. Like, we are not empowered. We are not in the seat of power to proactively produce a result. Guys, listen to me. Proactively produce a result. That is gold. That is the holy grail. If you could proactively produce a result. And most of us in business aren't. And that's why most small businesses fail. And here's the downside to that. Listen to me. If you're a healer, if you're a transformational coach, if you have any sort of important work to do in the world, and you can't freaking fund your cause, if you can't keep the lights on in your house, then you go work somewhere else and you minimize the gift you've been given. You minimize the work you're here to do. To say that money doesn't matter is naive at best. It does matter. If you live here in America, if you live in the world, the modern world, where currency provides choices and options. So to say, now I don't know where you are in this continuum, right? If you're all the way over on one side where you're like, I don't like marketing, marketing's a sellout, marketing, people who market are evil, that's one side, right? And then the other side is like going all the way in on marketing. I'm not sure where you live in this continuum, but here's the lesson, right? The lesson is like, you've got to hug the middle, right? If we turn this into a principle for a moment, a mindset, right? The mindset is to hug the middle. Hug the middle, meaning you don't have to be an extremist on one side or the other. But to discount either side would be foolish, right? You can see this all over the world, not just in business and marketing. You can see this in politics where people get too far one side or the other. Hug the middle. There's lots of wisdom in hugging the middle. There's much, much wisdom in hugging the middle. Okay, that's the principle here, is hug the middle. And in hugging the middle, what happens is you move from binary thinking, which is either or thinking. It's either this or it's that. Marketing is evil or marketing is from God, right? It's not either one of those. Or Democrats are evil or Democrats are from heaven, or Republicans are evil or Republicans are from heaven. Like, look, do you see how we can use this really any way we go? Like, there is wisdom in shades of gray. There is wisdom in the middle. Okay, so that being said, here's what is important for you in understanding marketing, right? Which is the first thing I want you to just get to. Let's you and I agree that marketing isn't about selling, which I've said many times in this show, but marketing is about leading a conversation. Okay, so if you and I can both get there, that marketing is not about doing scarcity tactics or lying to people or tricking people or clickbaiting people or spamming people. If you and I can get to that, marketing is simply about leading a conversation, proactively putting a conversation out in the world to facilitate and lead a conversation with the world that is important to you. All of a sudden, that comment called, "I don't do marketing," is ignorant. That's an ignorant statement. I don't do marketing. You have a conversation you want to lead in the world. So if you want to lead a conversation in the world, to say you don't do marketing is stupid. Why would you not do marketing if you have a conversation to lead? Let's lead as many conversations as we can to make the world better than the world we were born into. Let's keep evolving. Let's keep expanding. Let's see how far we can take this. But in order to do that, you, in your particular life experience and worldview, have to lead a conversation about what life has taught you so that it trickles down and spills into the rest of our lives. This is what I'm proposing is marketing. This is marketing. Marketing is you sharing a message with the world that makes the world better than when you found it. Now, because this tribe is business people, right? I'm speaking to you if you're in business. Then here's the cool part. Your business gets to overlap your mission. Right? Your business gets to overlap your purpose. So now when you share a message that makes the world better, it can also benefit your business. And if you're in this tribe, I don't need to tell you, although it's funny the comments I got on some of these ads, right? Where I don't have to tell you that business can be used for good. And it seemed like some people thought that business was evil also. Like, again, we're back to binary thinking. Business is great or business is bad. That's binary thinking, and there's no wisdom in that. Wisdom lives in the gray area. Wisdom lives in hugging the middle. That's the principle tonight, is hug the middle. Hug the middle. When somebody says something, you look for, I can see how part of that's true and part of that's not true. You have to think for yourself. Don't just immediately react. And I'm not saying this to you because if you're in this tribe, you get this. I'm just going off now on these weird comments I'm getting on these ads. But like you know that you can think critically about things and think for yourself. But so many people, they just see something, they immediately react, and then they make a judgment about it. That's just complete naivety, right? Okay, so what do we do with this hug the middle thing? What do we do with this marketing and it is leading a conversation thing? Okay, well, here's what there is to do. You simply have to begin to refine and feel into what is the conversation you're here to lead. What is the conversation you're here to lead? Right? Oh, I love this. Hang on, this is so great. So there's a question, okay. Clarice, thank you, Clarice. Okay, so here's a question from Clarice. What does it mean your business overlapping your purpose? That's so perfect, okay. So, and by the way, so I'm doing this Facebook Live. If you guys are hearing this in a replay, this is where it's coming from. Clarice, if you're still here, like, what is your business? Can you put that in the comments? What is your business? And let's see if we can't draw this out. So, and while you put that in the comments, I'll give you, my background was real estate, right? That's at the age of 24, I became a real estate agent. At the age of 30, I became a CEO for a real estate company. And now I have a marketing company. So what I noticed about myself in all of those stages of life were that there was a bigger passion for me than selling real estate. I had a bigger conversation I wanted to lead than, can I help you buy a home, right? And so if there's a way to overlap both what your business is, like how you make money, and the conversation you want to lead in the world. So the conversation I've always been drawn to is some type of personal development conversation. It just is. It's just always been something about connecting people to the spiritual, connecting people to what matters for them, right? And so behind everything we sell, I don't care. Listen, I don't care if most of the people I work with are in a service-based business, but even if you sold widgets, right? If you sold a widget, there should be, if your business is in alignment with who you are as a human, there should be some reason why you believe that widget makes a difference in the world, okay? Okay, here's what Clarice said. So photography, hair braiding, fashion designer. Perfect, okay. So inside of photography or inside of hair braiding, there's something that, there's a bigger conversation you want to lead in the world. And I'll give you some examples of what that could be, right? It could be that you feel like photography, I took photography in high school, by the way. And we got to develop our own prints, in a dark room, which was really cool. There's something about photography that captures a moment, right? And if this is how you feel about it, if you're an artist who does photography and it's not just like you're cranking people through headshots because you just want to make a buck. But if you really are an artist with your photography, there is a perspective that life has given you about what's beautiful about photography, right? And so if you start to realize okay, what I love about photography is it captures moments. And I feel like in this day and age, people are losing track of moments, right? We stay stuck on our phones. We get busy with work. We come home and we numb out on technology, or we drink ourselves to death, whatever it is, we just numb out from the moments in life. And photography for me is one of those great things where I get to capture moments. But the conversation I'm not leading is, hey, can I take your picture for $50, $100, $500, whatever your rate is? The conversation I want to lead in the world is, hey, let's pay attention to the moments that matter. Okay, so now, so get this, right? In the context of marketing, if you're a photographer, the conversation of your marketing now isn't, hey, everybody, I have a photography business. Can I take your picture for $500? The conversation you lead as a photographer in the world is, listen, guys, we're missing moments all the time. You need to pay attention. Part of what I do as a photographer is I capture that. But don't rely on me to always be the person who's capturing your moments. You as a human need to capture your own moments. And I'm happy for you to contract with me to come and capture some of those moments, right? And put it in a picture frame because that means something. But please God, don't just wait for me to capture it. You should be present every day to your own life. So this is how we take something like photography as an example, and we frame it in a bigger conversation that actually is authentic, right? That means something to us. By the way, this is the kind of marketing that actually touches the human soul. So if you were to lead a conversation like this in the world, it's the kind of conversation that actually earns people's attention. The conversation called, hey, I'm a photographer and I'll take your picture for some money, isn't a conversation in marketing that people pay attention to. Why? Because it doesn't move my soul. But when you remind me that my life is passing me by and I have been neglecting it, you're calling me out. You're asking me to get honest for a minute. And the thing, here's the cool part. You already see this. Where you live and what life has taught you, you already get this, but you've just been afraid to say it or didn't know how to say it. You didn't know that this was marketing. You thought marketing was something about advertising or Facebook or taking pictures of lunch or manipulating people or whatever context marketing was shared with you in. But what I'm saying about marketing is a conversation that you want to lead in the world because it leaves the world better than you found it. And if your message were actually to help people in this particular example I'm giving, if your message was to help people capture their own moments by being present, you would leave the world better than you found it. And my guess is you could lead that conversation for the rest of your life. And how appropriate that a photographer would be the person sharing that message. You get to see things we don't see. What makes you good as a photographer is that you capture the authentic expressions in our faces, right? That's what makes it work. But what if you could take that? What if we didn't have to pay you once a quarter or once a year or however often we do family photos, or you come to our wedding once in a lifetime? Or what if the added benefit of knowing you and being in your sphere of influence, connected to you, was that not just you took my picture, but that you called me into a better experience of my own life, because you kept reminding me through your marketing, through your Facebook posts and your YouTube videos and your podcast. You kept reminding me to look at the things in life that I should be capturing myself. That's magical. I love that. Clarice, I love that. You should use that. That's amazing. As a photographer, that inspires people. And right now in this world, in this day and age, we need inspiration. We need people to show us that there's hope. And that we need people to point us to the things that matter, that remind us of the things that matter. That, gang, is what I'm proposing marketing is. Marketing is simply a conversation that you're leading in the world. And can you imagine, so just go with me here for a minute. Can you imagine that if you were a photographer or whatever it is that you do, and you were leading a conversation like this in the world, can you imagine that it would lead to people wanting to work with you? Can you imagine that? That this kind of conversation would lead to people wanting to work with you. Most marketing puts the cart before the horse. We put the sale before the impact, right? We're like, hey guys, buy my thing. Hey guys, buy my thing. Hey, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. And that's the broken record that marketing has been. And then people get so turned off by it that they don't even want to hear if there's an impact on the other side of that. But what happens if you lead with impact? What happens if you lead with meaning and purpose? Well, one, you make an impact in the world. And then two, some of the people you make an impact with actually want to hire you to take their picture. Right? Some people actually want to hire you to help them, to serve them. Why? Because they value who you are as a human in the world. So that is, gang, that's what this conversation is, right? Clarice says, yep, because they feel like they know. Yeah, right. That's right. That's exactly right. This type of marketing creates a connection, like a real, like I can't tell you how many times I've been somewhere where somebody has seen me, and they know me from my podcast, and they're like, oh my God, I feel like I know you. Right. Because I'm sharing something that inspires souls because of what life has taught me. I went down the road of marketing and all the manipulative stuff for so long, and I kept feeling like it didn't fit. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't fit me. And so life taught me to look a different way. And when I started that's funny. When I started to share this different perspective, yes, with the world about marketing, it resonated. And people were like, yes, where has this been? Where has this conversation been? And they felt like they knew me. Not just that they knew me, but they wanted to talk to me. We had something in common. There was an understanding between our souls. That's what opens up. And listen to me, this is the future of marketing. If you don't get this, you're going to be left behind, because this is the future of marketing. All the manipulative stuff is going to get left behind. All the manipulation is, we as the consumer have no patience for that anymore. And because of technology, we can filter that shit out. We don't need that. We can filter that right out of our life. We don't need that, right? We have technology now that allows us to filter people we don't want. And so the manipulators get filtered out. Right. So, Clarice, thanks for interacting with me on this. Like, I love it. This is so, I get so fired up about this kind of, can you imagine the change? What happens when every entrepreneur starts to lead the conversation they're here to lead in the world, rather than feeling hand-tied, hamstrung in marketing? They're like, I'm not willing to sell out on my values, and so I'm not willing to market like that, and so they just stay quiet. What if, rather than that, people who were good-intentioned, heart-centered entrepreneurs started to share their message with the world that left the world better? Now, every single person, right? Every entrepreneur started to lead a conversation based on what life had taught them that leaves the world better than we found it. That would be incredible. That would change the world. That would change the world. This is why I love business people, because we have a vested interest in sharing our message. right? Financially, we have a vested interest in sharing, but it's not because of the money. It's because of the impact. We just get, because we can rise above the binary thinking of it all. We can see we can rise above all of it and see that if we were to inspire the world, it would actually, the fruit would come back, right? There would be fruit. There would be a harvest from that conversation. But it's not why we do it. We don't do it because we're trying to make a dollar. We do it because we're trying to make an impact. But we also are wise enough to know that when you make an impact, when you, as Zig Ziglar said, right, you help enough people get what they want, you'll get anything you want. We don't give in order to get, we give to make impact. But we know that giving produces results, produces getting. Giving produces receiving. Giving, as Jim Rohn said, giving starts the receiving process. And because we have evolved, you and I, we also know that we don't give in order to receive. We give because it's what it's in our heart to do. So I'm inviting you to this style of marketing. I'm inviting you to begin to consider what conversation you want to lead in the world. And if you'd like to learn more about how I teach leading a conversation in the world, I have a free course for you, right? You can go to groundswellmethod.com, groundswellmethod.com. It's in the text of this post. And you can start the free course. It's just 90 minutes, right? 90 minutes. And it walks you through how to start to find the conversation to lead in the world. Okay? Got it. Awesome. I'm just looking at Clarice. Thank you, Clarice. She said, I watched your video where you talked about being an empath and marketing, and you spoke about your wife being an empath, and that's my personality. Yes. Beautiful. Thank you. That's perfect. Thank you, Clarice. Yes. Thanks for saying that, by the way. And you say, I hate selling people. Yes, I know. Me too. I hate it too. I don't know that I'm empathic, but I hate selling people too. The thing is, like, I really value people feeling safe. I really value people feeling seen. I want people to feel seen and understood, right? And I felt like this was my journey through real estate. Was so much of it was about closing people and capturing people and all of that stuff. And I hated that. It didn't feel safe to me, right? And it was in my own failing forward and just seeing how much of the marketing industry doesn't teach people how to actually serve. It teaches people how to close, teaches people how to make a dollar, but it doesn't actually teach people how to see other people and allow other people to feel safe and gotten. So, yes. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Clarice. Yeah. I mean, this is why in that video about empaths, like, I feel like empathic people who really can experience others' feelings, like, empathic people are in a position to really get people. You can see people, you can feel people, and you more than others have an ability to help them because you can feel them. So many people won't tell you how they feel. And so what happens is we have our daily public lives are made up of all of these inauthentic interactions, right? I have my mask on and you have your mask on because we don't want to exchange feelings, and I don't want to tell you how I feel because you probably don't care anyway. And even if you did care, like, I don't know how you're going to fix it or solve it or help me. And so what we have is a bunch of inauthentic interactions in the world. But if you're empathic, what happens is you can actually get past some of that mask. And because you're empathic, you're actually a safe person for people. You're not trying to manipulate people or take advantage of people. You're actually the right person to serve these people. The biggest challenge for empathic people, though, has been that well, here's what I would say. I don't remember if I said it in that video or not, but the biggest challenge for empathic people is that if you don't have a filter for who gets in, you can be absorbing a lot of bad energy from people, right? However, if you decided to lead a conversation in the world as an empath, that was for people who were the right people, meaning you could filter out the people who didn't care, right? Or the people who were manipulative. And you could just speak to the people who wanted to be seen and heard and gotten and helped. I think as an empath, it would be less exhausting than it's been. Now, you'll still take time for downtime, and you'll still take time to recharge. But I think your experience of life and your experience of others will actually be redeemed for something that has meaning and purpose, rather than something that feels exhausting and makes you want to hide, right? Anyway, that was a rabbit trail there, but I thank you for saying that, Clarice. I wanted to address that because I feel like I have a huge heart for empathic people. Anybody that sees people, feels people, gets people. I think the world needs more of that right now. I think the world needs more of people being gotten. We all want to be seen and heard, and we are all not being seen and heard. So how cool if we all as entrepreneurs could, and business people, is start to lead conversations we actually want to lead and make a difference, because that would attract the tribe. That would attract the people who actually want to have that conversation, and they would feel safe inside of the space we create for them, right? Cindy said, Cindy commented, she said, I have been sending empathic coaches and creatives to your class. Oh, thank you. They were not connecting with marketing coaches. Oh, yeah, totally. Freebie and heard them comment. Yeah. So good. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just the whole thing, right? Like, most marketing isn't taught from a place that honors who people are. Most marketing asks you to be something you're not. It asks you to learn things that don't feel good to you. And all I'm doing in this training at groundswellmethod.com, right? All I'm doing in this Marketing for the Rest of Us podcast and course is teaching you how to access the things that life has already taught you. I'm not asking you to be anything you're not. I'm simply asking you to look into what life has already taught you, because you already have a message that life has given you, and you already have a conversation to lead in the world. You already have it. All there is to do is find the safe way to access it and the safe way to share it. And the experience here, what I'll tell you the experience has been for people who have gone through that course, is that they may start a little bit tentative because marketing is new and it feels unfamiliar. But by the end of the 6-week program, I have a 6-week intensive program on that you can apply for at the end of the free course, is that people leave the 6-week program feeling inspired by who they are. Can you imagine? Most of us judge and criticize we criticize ourselves. We judge ourselves. Even though we know we're built for greatness, most of the time we have this conversation of we're not good enough and we're not measuring up. And there's nobody there to encourage who we really are and stepping into our power. But your power lies inside of yourself, not outside yourself. There's nothing outside. There's no book you're going to read that's going to give you your power. Your power comes from inside yourself. And chances are you've already learned it. Life has already given you the lessons you need to share. It's in you stepping into that conversation to lead that you start to experience your own power. Until you step into that power, until you step into that conversation you're here to lead, you'll continue to feel like you're separated from your power. Your power comes from your truth, right? Your truth is what life has taught you. That is your truth. Nobody can take your truth from you. Nobody can say your truth isn't true. It's your truth. You lived it. And so what happens is when you start to share your truth, you start to experience your power. That'd actually be another principle, by the way. If we were thinking of like, what's the principle? Well, when you share your truth, you experience your power. And that's all marketing is. Marketing is sharing your truth. And then you experience your power. All right, gang, I have gone longer than normal, and that's okay. I really have appreciated the experience here, that you guys interacting with me. I love it. And I've enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. If you want the free course, you can go to groundswellmethod.com. It's 90 minutes, just 5 videos. And until tomorrow when we go live again, have a great night.